Elia presents Talking, and today we're here to talk sports with a group of my friends. NBA Conference Finals Edition special show with Warrior super fans. We got Paul Kim back in the house. Thank you, Paul, for being here. We got Andrew Rhim, first time eating his dinner. Thank you for joining, Andrew.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
We got Lakers super fan and his hair looking immaculate, Tom No down there. And we got a person with the worst week between the Clippers and Chargers, Clipper fan, Mike Walkusky up top. What's up, Mike?
Chargers fan too?
What's up, Mike?
He's a
And
Chargers
the
fan too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All San Diego or ex-San Diego teams.
Let's get straight to it. The Clippers blew a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets, in which they blew 3 double-digit leads, 3 games in a row to lose in the NBA semifinals.
Painful.
I'm going to let Mike have the floor first to air out whatever he would like about this team. What was the most disappointing part of this season? Go ahead, Mike.
I mean, the regular season was great, so that was all good. But once we hit the playoffs, first round, playing terrible D against Luka. I mean, they didn't look good after the first round. Then hitting that second round, I mean, Doc showed that he can't make adjustments. I mean, going into the first half of those last 3 games, they were winning. And then second half, Mike Malone just outcoached them. Mike Malone outcoached them, made adjustments. They knew what to do on defense. I mean, Doc Rivers just sat there, didn't even call timeouts, didn't try to do anything. Pandemic P out there hitting the side of the backboard on threes. I mean, nobody on the Clippers was doing anything in that fourth quarter. So I think it showed that the Clippers didn't have what they needed to stop a team like the Nuggets. They didn't have a big man defender who could stop Jokic. So that's something they got to get next season. I think they got to get a new coach, even though all the news is saying that Doc Rivers probably going to come back. But they got to tear up the team, get some defenders, get a point guard who can run an offense when the team's not making shots. They just got to do something if they want to actually try to make a run at the championship next year.
Mike, how do you feel that Paul George, after the game, said we always felt this is not a championship year or bust for us?
Yeah, I think Paul George needs to have some type of accountability because him and Kawhi are on 2-year contracts, so they got 1 more year to run it back.
Yeah.
If you really thought that, then I mean nobody else on the team thought that. Doc Rivers didn't think that. So for Paul George to go to that press conference and say that, I think that showed how prepared he was for the series, how prepared he was for the playoffs. And I think it showed that the Clippers might need to go a different direction for a second star.
Tom, on the second episode of Talking, you said that the Clippers got robbed by the Thunder. Do you want to go in deeper about how badly this is looking right now for them?
Yeah, let's get into it.
I think when I said it, I didn't think the playoff P was that bad. I legit, because here's the thing, just context. I was a big Paul George fan. I liked Paul George. I did not like LeBron, and so I wanted Paul George. I wanted Paul George over LeBron, and it's so weird to see him just choke like that in the playoffs. Yeah, I think it was bad. And look, like I get it. I saw the episode with Scott where he was like, we need it for Kawhi, and I get it. But, man, it just doesn't look good because, like, SGA – I feel like SGA and Gallinaro probably would have made a big difference.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think they would have made it to the next round with SGA and Gallinaro.
I think so.
And you would have had 5 first-round picks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first-round picks.
And 2 swaps.
And 2 swaps.
Paul, you always message me all the players that you love, and they all have the same characteristics. They're tough, hard-nosed, good defenders, everything Paul George isn't. How frustrated.
Wow.
Jeez. Who's so harsh?
Hey, roast them.
Hold on a second. First of all of you are harsh in my DMs, and all of a sudden now we're going to say I'm being harsh? Do you want me to read
I wouldn't
the
say
DMs?
Paul George is a bad
Fair
defender.
Right. So, Paul, if the Clippers team right now were your Warriors, how frustrated would you be with this team?
I mean, my view on that whole series is the Nuggets didn't win. The Clippers just lost. Even if you just look at the roster on paper between Pat Beverly, Paul George, Marcus Morris, and Kawhi Leonard, those are lockdown all defense guys. For them to have lost that series, being up 3-1, on top of having like crazy scores like Lou, Montrez, they didn't score their first actual field goal until there was like 4 minutes left in the quarter.
Yeah.
So for me, I was just like, this is just a tremendous choke job. I don't understand how you could have lockdown defenders and then the whole. So Mike, I don't know if you saw that, they kept doing the same thing over and over where they would trap. Yeah. They would trap Murray and then they would double Joker, and he would just slice him up, pass it off, and I'm like, adjust.
Yeah.
But they just kept running the same sets and kept getting killed on every drive. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
I'm sorry, Mike. I really am sorry. You are braver than all of us.
You really are.
None of us could sit up here and do this. Although I made Andrew watch Game 7 of the Cleveland Cavaliers Golden State Warriors game with Tom.
Oh, yeah, I watched it with you. That's
Why?
right.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Why would
We
you do
really
that?
did it.
Andrew, you got your first question. Why would you do that with me and Tom? Watch the 3-1 lead that you guys lost.
This is early off in the pandemic, and you're bored and you're lonely. You just need some affection, and your friends text you, "Hey, Game 7 of the 2016 Finals is on. You want to watch it?" And
Totally forgot about that. We totally
and at
did that.
that time, yeah. So yeah, ESPN was running classic games, and I just wanted to talk to my friends, and we were 2 championships away from that. I can handle it. It wasn't that bad.
I mean, you are right. That was the only time I used. Was it House Party, the app that we use?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
used House Party. That's the first time.
Yeah, it's the only time I downloaded for that. We have a caller who wanted to make a comment and a question for someone on the panel. Let me play it real quick. I think it's perfect timing.
Whoa.
Hi there, first-time caller, long-time listener. My name is AJ Raphael. I'm a big fan of Fantastic Korean. Anyway,
Yeah.
I have a new nickname, Choke City, instead of Lob City.
Oh, wow.
Far gone. Anyway, I want to shout out all the Clipper fans who would always DM me during this season when I was posting my Lakers stuff. I got really nothing else to say to you except I forgive y'all for your overconfidence.
Oh my God.
For thinking that the Clippers could just bully the league and load manage when they obviously lost in a Game 7, had 3 chances to clinch the series. Yeah, y'all are trash. Anyway, question for Andrew Rhim. Where do you see the Warriors feeding next year, if the next season happens at all? All right, I'll take the answers off air.
All right, thank you, AJ, for calling in.
Okay, AJ, I see you.
Andrew,
man,
did
my
you?
man.
Y'all trash.
Andrew, did you hear the question he asked you?
I heard the question. Shout out to AJ, co-host of The Flop, me and AJ and RV's
That's right.
NBA podcast that has not been updated in 1 full season. But don't worry about that. Go check it out. Go subscribe. Anyway, where do I see the seed? Listen, you really don't want to hear me talk about this because my honest opinion is if the Warriors if Clay and Steph were healthy with Draymond, Andrew Wiggins, not even the second round draft pick that we're about to either trade away or use, I think we would have ran through the league. Y'all, this is I mean, Mike nodding his head, like he knows what it is. There's something to be said about continuity, hence the Clippers losing, acquiring 2 superstars and Doc. I want to talk about Doc later, but I think he's getting a lot of the blame, and he had a tough job. Anyway, yeah, in the way that all these teams in this bubble are trying to figure out their chemistry. We saw it even with the Rockets. Granted, a lot of players are kind of moving in and out of the bubble. Westbrook was out, Lou Will was out, Montrezl Harrell was out. All these players are important. So there is that, but I just feel like with the outside shooting, the way we have a system in place, if we had a little bit of depth with our cap space, yeah, I feel like we're going to be a 1 or 2 seed next year. I'm just calling it. Bye.
No. Oh, Paul, do you agree with Andrew that you guys would have ran through the league if everyone was healthy?
I think we for sure would have made it to at least the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers this season because we had to dump Alec Burks, Ben Robinson III. If we didn't have to do all those dumps, we had at least our roster and everybody was healthy. I think for sure we would have at least made it to the Western Conference Finals.
Would y'all traded for? Would y'all kept D'Angelo then?
No, we would have traded him.
For do you think you guys are gonna keep Wiggins? I'm curious about that.
No.
Do you guys want to keep Wiggins?
No. Okay.
No, hold on,
Paul, what do you think?
Paul, answer that question. Answer that question, Paul.
I don't think that we got enough of a sample size of watching Wiggins play, especially with Clay, Steph, and Dre. So I can't make a full – I mean, Mike knows I've been a Wiggins hater from day one.
Me too.
But during that sample size that we did get, he actually played defense. He blocked shots. He got steals. He actually got more assists than he ever averaged in mini. So it was a nice little – he was pretty efficient.
Damn, you guys are fans. You guys watching those games, huh?
I watched every single game.
I'm just
when
saying, no,
we're
it's
like
true.
12
'Cause I
and
was,
35. Yeah, for sure.
I watched every single game, at least late at night.
yeah, no, good for you guys.
But the question, anyway, do we think we're going to keep Wiggins? I think we're trying to trade Wiggins in those picks, Minnesota's pick next year, our second round pick this year. I think we're trying to get something. So it's just a matter of whether teams are willing to trade someone we might want. And I don't know who that would be.
Giannis?
What?
Giannis?
But I think other people can beat our package with Giannis. So I'm trying to keep my options open. So, yeah, I'm open to keeping Wiggins next year. I think he is thriving in our system.
Andrew, I think the problem with other teams that might be able to beat your package is that Giannis won't extend his contract if he doesn't go to the destination he wants. And if the Bucks doesn't give him the destination he doesn't want, he walks without them getting anything. I think that's the hand that he has right now. All the leverage is on Giannis. Giannis had that lunch with the owner, and I'm sure he told him everything he wanted to say. He unfollowed all of his teammates on Instagram. They're cleaning house this year.
I hope he doesn't leave.
I'm going to ask this later.
Yeah.
And I think this year is going to be whether he stays or he doesn't stay, and he's going to make a decision.
Right.
And next summer, something is going to happen. Either they've won. If they lose in the semifinals again, I think Giannis is gone. Semifinals?
They're going to lose again in the semifinals again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll go back to AJ's comment earlier on the voicemail.
You've been waiting this whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I was never one of those Clippers fans who was all in people's faces about Clippers making to the finals.
Very true.
Right.
I never had that confidence, like going back in Clippers history. I mean,
You've been conditioned.
No, Mike wrote a reply to me on DM. I said sorry after he lost game 6. And he replied, I'm used to blowing 3-1 leads.
Wow. There's there's Clipper fans, the ones that have been through it. And then there's Laker haters too that kind of run their mouths. It's kind of like how there's Laker fans and then there's LeBron and Kobe fans that are I think there's kind of a difference that you can kind of tell.
Mike,
yeah.
Was the 2015 collapse against the Rockets worse for you, or was this 2020? Yeah, which one was worse?
That's a
What's
good
3-1 blown lead? Because there was expectation with that team too. So
yeah. So for me, the 2015 was worse. With
what
this one, this one, I actually thought that it might happen. With the 2015, I thought there was no chance.
That's so crazy.
So with this year, I was like, all right, Doc's already done it twice in his career. And he's already done it once with the Clippers, so it wasn't as big of a deal to me this time. But 2015, was just
that's what everyone says. The only reason Doc has a Hall of Fame coaching career is because Bynum had an injured leg, knee, or something like that. So if not, we would have won that championship that year too.
Wow.
Just heads up to all the Boston fans. It's because Bynum was out.
spicy in here.
No, it's true though. Come on.
You know Kendrick Perkins was hurt the year you guys won, right? I'm just saying, if we're being fair, I'm not a fan of either of your teams. I'm just saying, if we're going to be fair, you understand. Like, injuries are a part of the sports. We agree
Yeah.
with this, right? We agree with
But
this.
Doc Rivers coaching though.
All right, so I want to give my 2 cents on the Clippers. So the Los Angeles Clippers, it was crystal clear to me last night that our perception of the Clippers have changed. Not our perception in terms of you guys as an organization. You're perennial losers. And you're still perennial losers. But when social media blew up, I realized we no longer feel bad for the Clippers. And I realized why. It's because you talk too much and there's no accountability. There's so many excuses for what is going on, and I wrote down all of them. Paul George saying, we always felt this is not a championship year or bust for us. And then he's told Dame, and you getting sent home this year. And then did not back it up. Ever since that day, it's been terrible. And last year, too, he said that's a bad shot on the post-game conference when Dame shot a 3 in your face to eliminate you and end your Thunder career. The amount of excuses this team has, Mark Spears reported several Clippers were so fatigued during Game 7, they struggled to play stints longer than 3 minutes and asked out of a game for a breather in the fourth quarter. Didn't Steve Ballmer buy you equipment to stay in shape during quarantine?
Pelotons, man. Got to use those Pelotons.
Aren't you the poster boy for load management? You don't think LeBron's tired? You don't think Jokic is tired? If you're tired, win the series in 4 or 5 games. Win the series in 4 or 5 games like the Heat or the Lakers. Like the amount of excuses they've had was so ridiculous to me. I could not believe it. For a team that has not won anything, they all talk so much. And I love Kawhi a lot, but we do got to give props to how stacked the Spurs and the Raptors were when Kawhi was on the team. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Ginobili, Danny Green setting records. Like, that was a great Spurs team. And the Raptors, we know now, because they made it to Game 7 too without Kawhi. Like Kawhi did with the deepest team in the league, a team that is supposedly the best defensive team in the league. Paul George saying he's not James Harden. Of course you're not James Harden. You can't score like that. He says I'm a two-way player. Jamal Murray dropped 40.
Yeah.
Every wing player that started for the Nuggets had more points than you. Like, the amount of excuses Paul George has, I'm so annoyed. And I really liked Paul George, like Tom said earlier. I was a fan. But they need to stop with the excuses and just hoop. You imagine someone playing pickup anywhere, LA Fitness, 24 Fitness, anywhere, and be like, oh, I'm tired. That's why we lost. It's like, dude, shut up and get off the court.
Amen.
Like, stop talking. Like, oh, my God. I had to do it.
Preach. That was a good rant. Preach.
That was good.
Mike, I wasn't talking about Clipper fans. I was talking about the players and the amount of –
I agree with everything.
because you deserve better than this. You deserve better than this. Like, that was terrible. This is not a championship team or bust. That is the opposite of attitude of the topic I want to go next, of Jimmy Butler saying, why not us this year? Why not us? The opposite. Paul Kim, not Paul George. I'm done with Paul George. Paul Kim, PK, before the playoffs started, DM'd me when the seedings were set, and he said the Heat will beat the Bucks in 7 games in the semis before the first round started. Well, Paul,
I also said they would kill the Pacers.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes, Paul, but they didn't need 7 games. They damn near swept them. How impressed are you, Paul, with Jimmy Butler?
He backed up what he said. So this is he got so much hate for being annoying in Chicago and annoying in Minnesota, annoying in Philadelphia. When it comes down to it, it looks like
he's right.
It looks like Cat was soft. It looks like Ben Simmons was soft because he backed up everything he was saying, and he's still standing. So for me, yeah, there was a lot of chatter about him being hard to work with, hard to play with. Because you know that I told you about the whole Ben Simmons thing where he was in the group chat and he's like, yo, Ben, you got to play better. You got to do this. You got to do that. And Ben got offended. He's like, how you going to call me out in the team group chat? And that was the whole reason why that whole thing just like fell apart. That's why he left. He's like, I don't want to be here because Ben's butthurt. He's sad. I called him out.
Yeah, I always thought it was more of like a structural thing with the organizations. I think that's kind of a key thing too. like with a good team is like to have a good structure team. Like I think Chicago's kind of trash. I think Minnesota has been trash. Philadelphia is like, what are they doing? You know, I think like Pat Riley's whole, like, even though it's annoying, it's getting kind of annoying with the whole heat culture thing, but it works, you know, it's like proving its point, and Jimmy Buckets is like perfect for that team.
Sidebar, Tom,
Yeah.
Mike's other team is the Sixers because his dad's from Philly.
Sorry, Mike.
No,
Yes.
they're trash.
Damn, dude. Like both sides? That's crazy.
Yep.
Uh,
And like,
yeah, go
well,
ahead, Mike.
Jimmy, yeah, like my favorite players were Jimmy Butler, Dame, and LeBron.
Yeah.
I mean, they all work their asses off. They all expect their teams to work hard, and I thought that was so obvious in Philly last year. I don't know if any of y'all saw the podcast he did with JJ Redick after the season.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Basically, just called out Brett Brown for not
Yep.
being accountable,
Yep.
not pushing the team. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I knew that Miami was getting a player who was going to help them win. I knew that Philly was screwed. So I'm so happy to see Jimmy doing well in Miami. I think he's going to bring them to the finals this year.
Wow.
Go ahead, Andrew.
So yeah,
Yeah. Jimmy is absolutely the player that raises the floor for any team he's on. Even when he was on with the Bulls, weren't they an 8th seed? He carried them there, right? And he was like 24 or 5.
Yeah, he had
So,
some
like,
dope moments. I remember
Yeah,
watching it. He had some like really cool moments.
If there was any two players that went opposite, ascending and descending in reputation, is Paul George reputation just went down, and Jimmy Butler's reputation just went up. I'm
Whoa.
sorry to
I
keep
feel
saying
like
Paul George.
He slander.
Right.
I have another Clipper hot take, by the way.
Go for it, Tom.
I actually think the Spurs were right. I think Kawhi's still injured. I actually think he's going to be injured forever. I think he needs to be load managed. And I think even when they were like, oh, just play, I think like right now he's load managing, and that's what they were asking him to do before, is just to load manage.
I think the Clippers know that. And I think what happened was Paul George was not who they signed up for.
Yeah.
Right. And Paul George was supposed to take over when Kawhi is, load managing, and they have a deep team. I mean, even Lou Williams, I don't know what happened to him in the playoffs. Yeah.
Have you seen, there's this clip where Jokic is just straight up hunting for Lou Will.
Yeah.
Where he's like running down. He's not even the point guard. He's running down, and he points at Lou, like whoever's guarding, whoever Lou Will's guarding, drags him over, and it's like perfect sound. Like, wow, like Jokic is a point guard. That's so insane.
He's I
Like,
think like reincarnation of Arvydas Sabonis. I don't know how old everyone is here, but like we saw.
I like that.
That's a good player comp. I like that.
I like that.
Yeah, because he's so good. Go ahead, Mike.
I wish Sabonis could have went to the league earlier.
Yes.
He played in Europe for too long.
Yes.
And had messed up knees when he came over. But
Yes.
but yeah, I think Jokic is as much of a point guard that we've ever seen in a center's body. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The passes that he makes is ridiculous. So the Celtics Heat series, I wanted to ask Tom this. Tom, is Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Kemba Walker the best big three left?
I don't know. I mean, look, even though I'm like not supposed to like them, they're like fun. They're like, it's kind of cool. Like, they're not like the usual Celtics, I guess. But like, that Bam block was insane.
Oh
yeah.
God.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I feel like it would have been a bigger highlight had not the Clippers choked like that.
Okay, so I don't want to keep going back to the Clippers, but Mike, I think the other one part I did leave out is I think what we're impressed with the Heat is that they play so hard. Like, their hearts are all in it. And I think the Clippers, if they went out swinging, we wouldn't feel this way. But they just literally blew it. And I don't think any of us expected this in Game 7. I wasn't that shocked by Paul George's shot.
That's the most surprising thing. Paul George falling apart. No, we've seen this before. We know I know this movie. I've seen 2 of its sequels. It's so good.
Yeah, in fourth quarter, they had no.
It's Kawhi
There we
falling
go.
apart. That's pretty
Oh
crazy.
my God. Oh my God.
Shot.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's
I feel
okay.
like
Okay. The one
yeah,
other
come
thing
on.
I told Mike too is like, your Warriors have literally made everyone just shoot a bunch of threes. Like, if it's not working, the fact that we can't dump it into someone down low anymore, or that someone's not driving to the hole and going to the free throw line really bothers me. Like, if you're missing 3-pointers, drive to the hole and get to the line. If you don't have a post player, which a lot of people don't have post players, right? Go ahead, Andrew.
I really feel like, and that's what's interesting about Jokic. Like, I feel like he might have a very impactful, like a huge impact on the game. I think people might kind of expand what they expect out of, a big man role. Why not have them, handle the ball and make decisions down low? It's really interesting. It's like a inverse of what the NBA has become. Like, let's use space in the interior, right?
I was just gonna say for the Heat, like Bam initiates the offense like a third of the time probably. I mean, Bam can handle it. He's like a worse handling Jokic, but more athletic. I mean, he makes crazy passes. It's crazy to see what Bam can do at point guard.
So Tom did answer my question. So I'm going to rephrase this question so that he answers it or someone answers it. If they're not the big three, is Tatum, Brown, Kemba Walker, and Marcus Smart the best 4-player combo left in the finals or in the conference finals?
Can I say something about the big three or big three thing? You're forgetting about the big three of Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero. I don't know why you would just exclude them like that.
We have AD,
I'm just joking.
LeBron, and Alex Caruso.
Yes. Yeah.
Please don't do this. Please don't do this.
He's the top defender in the playoffs.
Please don't do this. Please don't do this.
The top defender percentage in the playoffs right now, guys.
Please don't do this.
If you look up the stats.
Don't do this. Tom.
What?
Don't do this.
Stating facts. These are
the most Laker fan shit ever.
Please, Tom, don't do this.
Analytics, guys.
I can't say for the big four, but I will say that Tatum, Kemba, and Jaylen Brown are probably the best big three left. But I think that the Heat's depth are going to take them out.
Oh, no. I'm not. Yeah. So as a whole team or even a duo, I don't think Boston has the best duo. But in terms of trio or to a 4, I think it could be debatable. Not with Caruso, but I think you think Alex Caruso is better than Kemba Walker?
Caruso, AD, and LeBron. If you average them out against
Tom,
Tom,
if you could trade Caruso for Kemba
Walker, if they play 3-on-3,
Caruso for Marcus Smart, straight up, you're telling me you wouldn't do it?
If they played 3-on-3, LeBron, AD, and Alex Caruso will beat them. I would put money on it.
Also, guys, we're also forgetting Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr., the God.
I think maybe next year.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think maybe next year.
Listen.
Can I say something about that? Actually, I actually didn't think that the Nuggets were gonna win, and I thought that Michael Porter Jr. needed a little bit more time.
Tom,
but
I don't think a lot of us thought the Nuggets were. I wrote an entire show with Clipper questions, and I had to rewrite the entire show. I had that much faith that the Clippers were gonna win.
I could have told you not to do that, Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. I am going to come back to ask you on your picks later. Let's move to the Western Conference. The Los Angeles Lakers versus the Denver Nuggets. We already talked about Jokic, so I want to keep going. Tom, you had a quote. You don't believe in the Nuggets. Have the Nuggets changed your mind since then?
A little bit. I'm not going to lie. They definitely have. I'm really surprised. I'm I didn't like Jamal Murray, honestly. I do think they're going to hunt him still. I think that's the game plan. I think that should be the game plan. I don't know why the Clippers didn't do that. But I do think that they definitely impressed me. And I think they played so much. I think it's all about repetition. The fact that they played so many game 7s is such and I had that for the Nuggets of the advantage on that game 7 was that they played so much game 7s that they kind of have we've played with each other in this situation before. We're not worried,
Paul, I know who you want to win the series. Do you think the Nuggets can win?
No, not a chance. Not a chance. 5. It's over in 5. Lakers in 5.
Andrew, what about you?
I believe they can. I mean, we just saw them beat the Clippers in Game 7, so I guess anything's possible.
I mean,
but it's a worse matchup for them for the Nuggets for sure.
Oh,
for sure.
It's over.
For sure.
Lakers in 5.
I think Lakers in probably 6.
Lakers in 6.
I wouldn't even say 5. I say 5.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel you.
Mike, what
But
about you?
I don't like everything I see from the Lakers.
I'm
I
saying
agree with
Lakers
you
in
there,
5. Lakers in 5 because they actually have someone who can guard Jokic.
You know, I don't know if they just play one game to see what the other team's like. It just seems like they just have a horrible game one and then just
Right.
go for it after that, right?
Right.
LeBron is one player that I thought in this entire playoffs without a bubble that doesn't need a home court. He's just different, you know? And I want to ask everyone, I'm going to ask the same question. I'm going to go around and then get your thoughts on it. LeBron just made a 16th All-NBA team, 13 of them being first team.
Wow.
He has 2 years left on his current contract. If, let's say, hypothetically, if LeBron wins out and wins 3 in a row, how does that change his place in all-time greats? I'm going to go with Andrew first.
Oh man, this is the question I really had trouble with when making my playoff predictions, because I ended up picking I had the Bucks winning it all. Obviously, that looks dumb now. But that's sheerly because
Should have messaged
if
Paul.
Kawhi wins another one in a third team, back to back on different teams, that's like that's never. I don't think that's ever been done. Become Finals MVP on 3 separate franchises. That's insane. So I didn't want that to happen. But I also don't want LeBron James to win another championship in LA because before at some point during this season, I had verbally said out loud, I think if LeBron wins in LA one more, I think he's the greatest of all time. Now the Last Dance has come out, so I don't know if what my statement holds much water. But I mean, I said it and I felt that in the moment. So yeah, I think it will put him.
Sure.
It won't. Yeah, it'll be right there. It won't be like Michael Jordan is definitely the greatest player of all time.
Mike, I know you're a big LeBron fan. Where do you think that will rank him? 1.
GOAT.
Interesting.
Paul?
I mean, if answering the question like you just said, if he wins 3 straight for his last 3 years, yeah, I'll put him in that conversation as the GOAT.
3 in a row only ties
Right.
him with MJ.
But
By the way.
if he wins this year, I'm not giving him any of that status. Fuck
Right.
no. I mean, I'm gonna say 6-0, 6-0.
Yeah.
So yeah, but if he wins 3 straight to like end his career and he bows out and says I'm done, then yeah, I'll put him in that conversation with MJ. But this year, no.
Damn, that's
Tom?
high. That's high standard.
Damn, that's
That's
awesome.
super high standard.
Well, Tom, yeah, go ahead. Tom, answer.
Yeah,
your question
like
first.
I think I speak from like a Laker fan. Like I think most of like Laker Nation is very like, you're not a Laker till you win a championship. And I think that, I mean, it is what it is. And I feel like in order for him to do that, I think it will be big because he's going to gain a huge fan base through that. Because there's still a ton of Kobe fans. Like there's there's like inner fightings, you know? Yeah, I think he just needs to win. And honestly, if he does, I think it's crazy because like, you know, we talk about Paul George or we talk about Kawhi, you know, as a Laker fan, they spurned us. Like they were like, they used us as trade bait and then they didn't come. You know what I mean? And like no one wanted to
right now, though. That looks great right now, though.
I know, it looks super
Sorry,
amazing.
Mike. I'm sorry.
No, I'm here for all the Paul George slander.
I mean, there was a ton of people that we were like, oh, we're going to get them. You know what I mean? And we didn't. And like, he was the only one that was willing to come to the Lakers and like kind of change the culture back up. You know, it was like a Shaq move. Like when Shaq came, like it changed the Laker. Like we were like, we had like, it was the Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel, which was great, but we weren't winning anything, you know?
I think one thing that's really hard to deny about Jordan is he had two three-peats. You know, more than 6-0, 2 3-peats. That's, I mean, if LeBron gets a 3-peat, that is a good thing on his resume, obviously. I mean, Kobe has a 3-peat.
Yeah, I just think LeBron and Jordan are just 2 different players.
Sure.
Like,
I agree. Yeah.
Like,
It is unfair
I
to
agree.
bring it up,
Yeah.
but there is actually no other player really to debate. Even Kobe is difficult. Kobe and LeBron is really different.
No, because I think and here's the thing. I'm a Kobe fan because I'm a Laker fan. I still think Jordan is better than Kobe for sure, but they're the same. Like he was the closest that you could kind of like do the competition with, right? Where like LeBron is just, he's just his, like him and Magic are the closest, I think. And I think that's kind of how you want to like. And it's like, what type of players you like, right? Do you like the guys that kind of elevate everyone around you, or do you like the ones that are like Jimmy Buckets is a Jordan, like Jordan Kobe type, not as like up there or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if Jimmy Buckets was in the right franchise, right timing and everything, then yeah, you know, but he had to get to a bunch of different like locations till he landed on the Heats, and I think the Heats is like perfect for him. You know,
I agree with that. I agree.
Type of player like Dame Lillard. I wish I know you have some Portland fans. I wish Dame wasn't in Portland. I wish he was at a franchise that like really like propelled him, because I love Dame Lillard. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. All right, so I'm gonna go through a few segments, and everyone will get a chance to answer the question. So the first one is more likely, and this is based off of next summer. More likely, you think Giannis is staying or Giannis is leaving? Let's start with Mike.
He's gone.
It's gone. Woo.
Yeah.
You destination. Do you have a destination you think?
Right now, I'm gonna stay Miami.
Paul?
I think he stays.
Do you have a player that you would like to see Milwaukee trade for?
I mean, they need to get rid of Chris Middleton ASAP. He's just not. He's not that number 2. He's not that Pippen. So whatever they can get for him and whatever else they need to add, that'll make Giannis happy. Do it.
Andrew?
I also kind of think he stays. I think it just makes more sense because it's harder for me to imagine him like picking a team, and it's harder for me to imagine that. But I feel like the Bucks have a lot to do in order to prove to him that it's worthwhile to stay there. Chris Middleton, I think it's fine. I think it's good. It's a lot of money, but you know he won that whatever game. What game was that? That when Giannis was hurt, Game 5.
The only game.
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
They need to get rid of Eric Bledsoe's contract, and that's going to be damn near impossible.
True.
Yeah.
No one,
That's
no
the one
wants
that's
that.
going to hurt
Yeah.
them.
No
No
one's
one wants
touching
that. Yeah.
Tom?
Just another thing, another hot take. I think that I think the Bucks coach him wrong. I think they go through Giannis, and I don't think that should be. And so like that's why the Bucks won that game without him, because then they started playing like regular instead of just like deferring to Giannis. I think Giannis has to give up a little bit, to be honest, and I think they need a better coach, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
That coach is terrible. But I think he stays. Like, I hope he stays, and I think he stays.
I think Giannis is gone, and I've told Paul this a bunch of times. I think it's going to be either the Warriors or the Heat. So we'll see how that goes.
If he leaves, I think he should go to the Heat. I would stay.
You know, the thing is, I wanted him on the Heat, and I said this. I met Mike at a wedding on January 25th. I said it at the wedding at my table that someone was like, well, where would he go? And I said the Heat. And that was like the entire discussion of the table for a while. But now that the Heat are so good, I don't want this repeat of a situation.
I wish that was how my table was talking.
I know. Sorry, Mike. My table was all basketball. All right. So Eric Bledsoe's contract. Eric Bledsoe is represented by Rich Paul of Clutch Sports. Lonzo Ball just signed to Clutch Sports and said, quote, I want to win most improved player next year. More likely to win most improved player first. Not next year. First. Lonzo Ball or Markelle Fultz? Tom, you go first.
Lonzo Ball. I'm a Lonzo Ball fan, so BBB.
He's actually on Nike or Puma now. He went somewhere else, right?
I don't think he signed anywhere yet.
Oh, no, that was LaMelo. Sorry. That was
LaMelo. I think he's too trash right now to get signed anywhere.
Oh, God. He said, I'm a Lonzo fan. He's too trash.
But I am a Lonzo fan.
All right. Andrew, Lonzo or Markelle?
I think Lonzo. I think he has the raw tools. Markelle, the Orlando series, congratulations, Markelle. I'm happy. He looks like an actual NBA player. I'm happy for him.
God.
Sorry.
That's too easy. I'm going Lonzo all day. All day. I don't like Fultz's game. I don't see it. I don't see what made him number 1 pick. I've watched clips, highlights of all his college games before his shot was broken and he hurt his shoulder.
I agree that I was stunned he was going number 1, and I watched him play the entire year.
Is it Seattle bias him, by the way? Because
he's not from Seattle. He went to UW for a year.
Okay.
From like Baltimore or DC or something like that. But
I don't see it. I
No.
don't see what makes him.
Did you watch him
special.
play?
Yeah, I
When,
went.
you-
I went to
UW?
heck. Yeah, I went to Heck Ed to see him play live against Lonzo, actually, against UCLA, and I watched the entire season. And I thought he was incredible. I didn't think he was a number one pick, but I did think he was incredible. I don't know what Philly did to him, but Philly ruins a lot of career. Sorry, Mike. A
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
true.
careers. So had it been, let's say he wasn't the number one pick and drafted somewhere else, I think his career trajectory is a little bit different. Mike, what about you, Lonzo or Markel?
I'm going to say Lonzo, and I'm going to take it a step further and say he's at least going to finish in the top 3 next year if he gets a full season of Zion Williamson.
Oh,
All right.
nice.
Nice. Okay. So this or that, I'm going to give you 2 scenarios, but for the Warriors fan, I'm going to ask the same question. And for Tom and Mike, I'm going to ask you separate questions each. Okay. So this or that for Tom first, which would you prefer? If hypothetically, because this question I wrote before the Clippers lost, would you have rather lost to the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals or lose to the Celtics in the NBA Finals?
Ooh, good
Damn,
question.
that's a good ass question.
Good question.
Easy question to me.
Tom, would you rather hear from Celtic Nation or Clipper fans just go at you all the time?
I probably would rather lose to the Celtics because I think I know more Clipper fans, and I would get more. Yeah,
Nice.
and also like I feel like that pain is more like recognizable. To be honest, there is one thing that I'm happy about is that the Clippers haven't left the second round yet, and it's kind of like funny to me still. To be honest with you, it's like 50 years.
He's sitting right there, man.
Yeah, he's right
Sitting
there. He's right there.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was kind of funny.
It is.
It's just
part
a
of
sad. It's a sad fact.
all the layers of the Clippers. Oh my God.
How do you not get out with Blake Griffin and freaking CP3, dude?
Doc
Because you
Rivers.
lose. Because you
Tom, he
lose a
answered it.
3-1 lead.
He answered it.
Doc,
How do you lose with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard? You blow a 3-1 lead.
Doc.
He answered it. So Paul and Andrew is the same question, but I'm going to ask Paul to answer it first. This or that, would you rather next year lose to the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals or this season lose to the Seattle Seahawks in the NFC Championship game?
Oh, shit. Shit. Wow. You know what? I'll have to take I'll take Lakers all day because my Niners have not won since '94. I just want another, as an adult, as the grown-ass man, I need one more Niners hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. I need it.
Is
Just
Andrew
one-
about to change his jersey? Jesus Christ.
Yes, he is.
Oh, God.
Sorry, what?
Listen.
Yeah!
Listen, man.
What's up?
Listen,
My man, Andrew.
Listen,
And-
man.
My man.
Hey, Paul. Who the Niners beat in that Super Bowl?
The Chargers.
Oh.
Hey,
my
Mike, I'll give you
God.
this. Junior Seau is my favorite non-Niner of all time. Of all time.
Legend.
Wow.
Of
Legend.
all time.
Junior Seau.
Andrew, do you want to answer out loud or can I just take that as an answer?
No, that's not my answer. I would rather lose in the NFC Championships. Russell Wilson is a really. I mean, listen. I feel like
Say
the
it.
rivalry.
NFC
taken-
Player of the Week.
I feel like we've all grown up a little bit. Like the Seahawks are good, the Niners are good. Like I don't mind losing to a team that I think is up here, and I just don't ever want to lose to the. In my lifetime, I just don't want to lose to the Lakers in the playoffs. I just don't want to see it. We've already lost in the NFC Championship game.
Oh.
To y'all.
Yeah.
It's like Tom said, the pain is more familiar.
Mike, yours will not be a lose-lose situation. So Andrew and Paul have seen, 4 49er wins, 3 Warrior wins. Andrew's seen how many Giants World Series? Tom down there has seen 5 Lakers championships. They're all spoiled. You and I understand how not to be spoiled by a team, so I'm going to let you pick. Would you rather see first Chargers Super Bowl win or Clippers NBA championship?
You say that like the Seahawks didn't win Super Bowls. Anyway, go ahead, Mike.
We won one.
That's easy for me, Clippers, because all my friends are Lakers fans.
Oh, love it.
Petty.
Love it.
It's been my life, like having them trash the Clippers. So just one time before I die, once.